Yeah, I know. Last week we kind of left you hanging, huh?
Well, this is now part 2 of our ongoing saga of the kitchen install. Here we go. Yeah.
Wow. Well, hey everybody, I'm Bill.
And I'm Elizabeth. Live simple.
Live free. And yes, indeed, last week, the last video that we did when I started the kitchen, I realized that it was probably going to be a 1-hour video.
Right.
So I just sort of chopped it off right in the middle. So this video will be picking up right exactly where the last one left off, working on the plumbing under the sink. So here you go, the rest of the lower cabinet kitchen install. Okay, so now that I got the new valves on there, I need to cut the hole in the back of the cabinet. Alright, now let's see what happens. Oh, now that's a beautiful thing. Just as big as they needed to be to fit the valve through, but no bigger. So now that I got the holes drilled there and I got this back in place where it needs to be, I need to attach these, screw these cabinets together to make them all one unit and make sure the front is smooth and flush before I attach it to the wall. So the first thing I want to do is remove the door so that I can put a clamp on there and make sure it's tight. So I need to make sure these two cabinet faces are flush and that they're pulled together without a crack in the middle. Now these are the wood screws that I'm going to be using. Go in here like this. There's a pilot hole, one there and one there. I need to drill that out and make sure that at least this section the hole is bigger than the screw, because I don't want this thread to bind in here. I want it to slide easily in here and bind in there so that it draws this together. Alright, so now this screw will slide easily through that hole. Now I'm going to clamp these together. I have smaller clamps, but of course when I need them, I can't find them. It pulls it together nice and tight. Make sure it's flush right there. Okay, nice and flush. It's not only got to be tight this way, it's got to be flush this way. Okay, so I got one here and one here. I'm thinking I should put one more up here. I should have drilled that before I screwed them together. Alright, nice and tight and flush on the top. Good to go. So now that I've got them screwed together here, and they're basically sitting flat on the ground all the way around, I'm going to screw them to the wall to put them in place permanently. But I need to use a shim here for the wall. So now that I got that shim in there, I can screw this in. So why do I need a shim, you might ask? Good question. Let me show you. Because the walls are not plumb. They're not straight up and down. See how this cabinet is sitting flat on the ground, on the floor, and it's tight up against the wall right there By the time I get up here, I can fit my fingers in there. That's because this wall is not straight, it's leaning that way. So I need to put shims in here before I screw this to the wall. Otherwise, it would take this and bow it that way, and it would go like this instead of being straight, and that would be a mess. So I gotta shim it all the way around like I did there before I screw it to the wall. Okay, so I got it all screwed in. I got one right there, 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 and over here. So this is all tight now, mounted to the wall. It's not going anywhere. In a perfect world, these shims would not be necessary. You could just put it right flat to the wall and screw it there, but quite honestly, I don't think I've ever seen it that way. The walls are almost always slightly out of plumb one way or the other. Now, like I said at the beginning, we do not have the new countertops yet. So I'm going to temporarily reinstall this old countertop. The stainless steel sink, we're going to keep that. When I get the new countertop, I'm going to take that and move it into the new one. But one thing we are going to do is replace that faucet. That's an old, well, it still works fine, but it's a cheap faucet. We've got a new one here that's much nicer. I'll show you when it's finished, but I'm going to install that in here right now because it's a lot easier to do here than it is to crawl up underneath of the cabinet to put it in. So there's the old faucet. So much easier to work on like this than crawling up underneath of there. I'm also going to be installing a reverse osmosis filter underneath for filtered drinking water. So this will be the faucet for that, and that'll go in this extra hole right here. I'll install that right now too. So I now have all of the plumbing hooked up, and actually I was halfway through doing this when I suddenly realized that I had forgotten to turn the camera on. But the reality is, with my head stuck up underneath of there, I wouldn't have been able to film it anyway, so sorry about that. But the plumbing is now done, so we now have water here. And we got one of the spigots like we used to have in our tiny house. We really love it. It pulls out like that, and it's got a spray attachment. We like that much better than a spray nozzle on the side. And then we've got this. That's going to be I'm going to have a reverse osmosis filter underneath the sink for drinking water, filtered drinking water, and that's what that's for, but that's not hooked up yet either. So now I have the wiring finished as well. I did have a bit of a problem here. The dishwasher is a regular plug, so I put a plug right here with a ground fault to plug the dishwasher into. The problem is this box is too shallow, and so I couldn't screw this all the way in. Lowe's didn't have any of the deeper boxes. They were completely out of them, so I got this one just temporarily to hold it. Once I can get a deeper box, I'm going to have to replace that, unfortunately. But I have the hot wire comes up out of the floor, goes into that box, which is the junction box, and then I have two wires coming out. One goes in there. I decided to put another receptacle right up there, so that wire goes there. And then the other one goes back down into the floor underneath, and it comes up over here for that receptacle right there. So now we have receptacles. We have 1, 2, one back in there, and one over here. So when I put the dishwasher back in place, it comes out a couple inches past the old countertop, but that's not going to matter because it must have been, one of these cabinets must have been a couple inches longer than the original one. But that doesn't matter because that door will be eliminated. It'll be framed in as a wall. The refrigerator will move over and sit here, and the new countertop, when I measure it, when it comes in, will be out beyond that. So as a temporary fix, I'm just going to leave it like that, and that'll be fine. And then in here, I've got the drain hose, the supply line, and the plug that goes in here. I just need to hook those up and the dishwasher should be ready to go. So now I've got the dishwasher all hooked up and it's working. It just plugs into that receptacle there, the white hose there. That's the drain. It comes over here right into the drain from the sink. And then the silver line is the supply, and it ties right into the hot water supply right there. Now I've got a little bit of a situation here because that cabinet right there is supposed to go in that hole right there. The problem is this gap is 13 inches. And this cabinet is 15 inches. So this cabinet is 2 inches wider than the hole right there. Now I knew about this when I ordered the cabinets. It's short 2 inches. I thought it was only going to be 1. It ends up being 2. But the only other option would have been to put in a much narrower cabinet here. And we decided we didn't want to do that. So what's my option? What's my solution? I'm going to actually take this corner cabinet and recess it back into that wall 2 inches. Right here I'll cut the sheetrock out. That gives me a 1/2 inch. And then I think there's only one stud right here, so I just have to rip down about 1.5 inches off of that stud And then I can push this back and recess it into the wall, and it'll work fine. There won't be any problem at all. I just have to adjust the countertop a little bit as it comes around because this isn't as wide. But that's a solution that allows us to actually have another full-size cabinet in here instead of a real narrow one that's not very useful. I'm not particularly looking forward to doing this. It's going to be a pain, but it's going to work fine. Okay, so I've gained a 1/2 inch here on the gap because I removed the 1/2 inch sheetrock. So now I'm at 13.5 inches and I need 15 inches. So I'm going to have to cut into this stud right here 1.5 inches so I can recess the cabinet back further. Okay, so fortunately I only have this one stud that I need to cut into, and also very fortunately there are no wires that I have to deal with. There's one right here, but it's up out of the way. So now I've drawn this chalk line right here, 1.5 inches in. That's where I'm going to have to cut it. It's not going to be an easy task. I'm also going to have to cut out the plate down here on the bottom, 1.5 inches. Now that would make for a pretty small stud that could weaken the wall quite a bit, but it's only the one stud, so I'm not going to be concerned about it. It'll be fine. Also, the cabinet will go in here and the cabinet will be attached to it, and that'll help strengthen it as well. It should be fine. Okay, so I got the stud cut out and I got the stringer cut out right here, back 1.5 inches. I didn't film it because this was a bear. I couldn't fit any of my power tools in there. I had to do the entire thing with a chisel, and I've been working on this for a couple of hours. It was a real bear, but I think it's done. Well, and so hopefully, let's see now if I have enough room for that cabinet. Ha! 15 and about 1/16. I think it'll work.
Oh goodness.
There we go. How's that for a perfect fit? I am happy. I just need to level it all up and screw it all together. So this is still definitely a work in progress. Obviously we're not finished, but you can see here I have all of the lower cabinets permanently installed all the way around. This is the original countertop, which I just put back in place temporarily so that we can have a sink because we don't have our new countertop yet. Over here, the stove used to be here and we had one small piece of counter over there. So this is the countertop that was over there. I put it here and then covered the rest of that with plywood, waiting on our countertop. Now a lot of people ask about the microwave. Yes, we will be moving it. Over here above the stove, we'll be putting a cabinet up above there, and then the microwave will go right here, because the microwave has a light in it, you know, and a fan, so it's made to be a hood above the stove. Okay, for the upper cabinets, we're going to have a Lazy Susan on this side, and then over on the other side, a large corner cabinet. This wall here will actually be blank. There will be no cabinets here. We are going to take the cast iron pots that are hanging right here, and we're going to put them over here on this wall. And then above that will be a bunch of my decorative and souvenir mugs and things like that hanging from the wall and the ceiling and stuff like that. So those are the plans there.
All right. Now I'm loving these lower cabinets. Aren't they beautiful? This is a little bit of like a distressed color that's in these little carved areas there. It's just really lovely. Kind of fits the fact that this house kind of gives me a little bit of an old farmhouse feel, and I just love that with these. This is a very nice, like, watch, closes itself. I love that. And I'm using the same knobs that I had used previously here in the kitchen because I love them. And they don't hurt my hands. I don't get caught on them. They're very smooth, but they're really pretty. So I have a Lazy Susan over here. Works really beautifully. And this over here, well, for one thing, guys, I now have drawers. This is very exciting. I have here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 drawers, one big one there. I didn't have any drawers in the kitchen previously, so I think that's really wonderful. And then right over here, this used to be, well, for one thing, the hot water heater used to be under there, but now it's down underneath the house. This was just dead space, and I now have another Lazy Susan in here. And I haven't figured out where everything's going to go yet, of course, but it's going to be so handy and very accessible for me. So I love it. Just closes up very nicely. We're all set with that. So we've had people asking about the floors, and I'm wondering what we're going to be doing as far as the floors. And we want to show you, I have the sample here of this flooring. It's a tongue and groove flooring that we're going to be using. It looks like tiles, but it's some kind of good modern super heavy duty stuff that's not going to ever wear out. And once we get everything done, then that is going to be all the way through our new utility room and all the way through into the kitchen here. And we'll be showing you a shot here how beautiful this is, you know, up against the cabinets. And I just love it. So we went in when we were trying to think about what to do about our countertop, and went in to get that ordered because it has to be especially measured in, and we couldn't do any measuring or get anything ordered until this was all installed, so that we would know that the countertop was being done to exactly the right size and we don't have something that isn't going to work. And so we went in, and I was looking for something that would you know, since my walls are light and my cabinets are light, and the floor is got that beautiful gray to it, but it's not very dark at all, I was kind of hoping I could come up with something that was the grayish white black pattern, but just a little bit richer and darker to give a little more contrast in the kitchen. Well, we went in and talked to the guy that does the countertops, and telling him what we were looking for, and he said, well, let me show you something. And he brought out a piece of granite countertop that was just, I mean, perfect. It was blacks and silvers and a little bit of gray and white, but a little bit like richer and darker than this. But it didn't have blotches of yellow or brown in it, which I kind of really wanted. I wanted it to stay real true to this silver black kind of a feel. And that'll still, I think I may stick with these beautiful yellow in the walls, but I didn't want browns in my floor or my countertop. And he said, well, he said, this is a local granite. And because of that, this is the only kind I could find that's local, which was a perfect color. But he said, because it's local granite and they can get it easily, it was amazingly affordable. Oh my goodness, I can't believe I'm getting granite. I'm so excited. And so they're going to be coming in pretty soon, and they'll actually take a laser and measure exactly what our countertop needs to be, where the sink would fit in and all that. I'm going to actually be able to put an under the counter sink in, which is so easy to keep clean, and it looks really beautiful. Anyway, the cost of the countertop includes coming and measuring, and then it includes preparing it and installing it. And then we're going to take a piece of the granite that's about this tall, and it will be the backsplash is also included. That'll go all the way around, but it'll be, of course, matching granite about that height. And so it's looking like I'm affordably going to have a much more incredible countertop than I have ever imagined. So I'm pretty psyched about that. So yeah, we're going to be doing the floor. I love these under cabinets here. I call them cupboards. Bill calls them cabinets. Yeah, I think they're beautiful. Once this is all done, I think it's all going to just be easy to put everything away, and it's just beautifully accessible. I have a really beautiful clean under my sink area. I'm even putting my dish soap and stuff into its own like little container so it doesn't get messy under there. And so yeah, it's going to be really, really nice. Before I go, I also wanted to mention something. We've had people commenting on, it just seems like that Bill works all this stuff all the time, and it doesn't seem like I help. And well, for one thing, for many, many years, and until Bill was just simply doing the job like professionally all the time, and I was working full-time as a teacher. For many years, I have worked side by side with him on these projects. And I could even get up and down ladders. I'm pretty good with a nail gun. And even some of our projects as contractors, I would sometimes go and help out with stuff when I could, because I was working full-time. I've loved it. And like I said, I can swing an old nail gun with the best of them. And then I had the stroke, And now, if I really bend over a lot or I try to stand a long time, right now I'm leaning against the counter, I lose my balance really easily. And Bill has been doing this for years. He's used to doing it, and I do really try to help out with the videos. I actually edit a lot of them myself. I'll film and do things with the videos and take care of other things. I'm our family accountant and bookkeeper for just basic stuff because I'm glad to help out with that. But I can tell you honestly, I wish I could be out there more, really helping with stuff if I was able to. But my balancer got really broke, So the only reason I'm talking about that is because we've had people, ask, well, how come I don't just help? Why can't I just be out there being a help? And I do everything that I can, believe me. So anyway, I'm very excited about what we're doing in this kitchen, and glad you guys get to kind of go along with us.
Okay, so I didn't know Elizabeth was going to talk about that, but since she brought it up, let me make a couple comments. I think a lot of people, a lot of our viewers don't realize how devastating the stroke was on her because we only filmed the good stuff.
Sure.
But she has a lot of balance issues. If she stands very long or walks very long, she has balance issues. It's not stamina or anything like that. It's just balance issues that when her brain gets tired, she can't balance. And so, we film very carefully so that doesn't come through. But I think she has a lot more negative long-term effects from the stroke than people realize. So that's all I'll say about that. But that's the main reason that she doesn't help, because if she bends over to get something, she'll literally fall over because of her balance.
Well, and a lot of times, our videos aren't about whether or not my balance is okay. I want it to be about what the video's about.
Right.
So I'm not trying to fake anybody out. I'm just trying to get these things filmed. And I have told you at times that things are pretty wobbly, but yeah, they're just like with anything happens that's kind of that serious. Most of the time I'm fine, and sometimes I just have really bad days.
Yeah.
But that just goes with the territory.
Yeah. So anyway, back to the kitchen.
Yes, let's get back to the kitchen.
The good stuff.
The good stuff. Yeah.
Okay, so with the statement that I'm about to say, a lot of you, especially the women, are going to go, "Oh no!" She doesn't know what I'm going to say. Well, she does, but she doesn't. I'm done here. I'm not going to be doing the upper cabinets yet. We're just doing the lower ones, and I'm going to leave it at that, and I'm going to go back and work in the addition again. And go ahead.
Well, and there's a good reason for that. We needed to get the countertops ordered because they're going to take a couple of months to come in.
Right. Well, there's two things here. One is that they can't even come out to measure for another 2 weeks yet, and then once they do that, they said 6 to 8 weeks for the manufacture of it, and then they have to schedule a time to come back. And so we needed to get that going, and we couldn't do it until the countertops were in. The cabinets were in.
Yeah, until we could get the proper measurements.
The other reason, and the main reason, and I've accomplished this, is I couldn't work out there in the utility room because of all the boxes of cabinets in my way. So now that I've installed these lower cabinets,
These are the big ones.
These are the big ones. All the small ones that go up here are all out in our RV and out of my way.
Yeah.
But now that I've got these installed, I can work in the utility room again. That was my main goal.
Yeah.
So I've accomplished that, but I've also accomplished something else, because this kitchen now, already in its unfinished state, is about 200% more usable than it used to be.
Yes, I'm in seventh heaven. I'm just having a ball.
We used to have the stove here and just this one tiny little section of countertop right here. Now we've got countertop that wraps all the way around. And it's like, wow, we don't even know what to do with all this countertop space. It's really wonderful.
We came in with some groceries yesterday, and Bill was like, oh my goodness, because our table's got a lot of stuff on it right now.
All the stuff that used to be in the cabinets is now sitting on our kitchen table because we haven't put it back yet.
And because I don't want to put it away until I figure out how I'm going to put things away. And he goes, where are we going to put these groceries? And it was so cute. He goes, we have a great big countertop. So yeah, it was easy. So yeah, we're enjoying it.
Yeah, so anyway, there you go. I got the lower cabinets done. They're all completely functional. We're really enjoying it. I'm going to leave this. I'm going to go back. I think the next video will probably be doing the electrical work in the addition.
Yeah. You have to do what has to be done before something else can be done. And so you just have to and then we have an inspector that has to come out. You really have to keep all those things in mind.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm glad the countertop's ordered.
Mm-hmm.
That's really a relief.
Yep.
So I get to have granite. I can't believe I'm getting. Will I show you guys how pretty that? Oh my goodness! I can't believe I have granite. Anyway, the only piece of granite, the only granite that's available on here could have been something that would clash terribly in my kitchen, but it's exactly what I would look for. So I kind of consider that a wow. Thank you, Lord. So anyway, I'm done.
Yeah, right.
Okay.
So thanks everybody for watching. I hope you're enjoying it. Well, I know you're enjoying this because you're telling me.
And we're glad. We're glad.
But I hope you enjoy being able to see the completed lower cabinets. Thanks for watching.
Live simple.
Live free. You be blessed.
Yeah. And we love you guys, and of course, you will see us soon.
See you next time.
Yep. See you next time. Bye bye.